gaslighting at work so much in the past couple of decades, it is now obvious to me that most Democrat politicians and even Republicans use this tactic to control their opponents politically. Having a common-sense debate to offer both sides to the voting public is fast disappearing. Emotional debate has replaced the logical. Threats, gaslighting, doxing, and cancel culture tactics now dominate the debate stage. Emotional outbursts, mostly by Democrats, excuse the ignorant from having to defend their position to gain the respect and appreciation. Instead of the crowd, protect the left-leaning debater from having to defend his or her position. The debate then is skewed. One debater, especially at a hostile place such as a university, has the disadvantage. This is, of course, usually the more conservative candidate. I have seen this principle in action many times in my experience and with others. I debated with a woman about abortion once. She actually admitted that abortion was morally wrong. Yet a woman may choose. She won the debate 2 votes to 1. Afterward, the one that voted for me said she was pro-choice but thought still that I won the debate on the grounds of the speech class I was in, which was supposed to emphasize the strengths of the debater, not his or her position on the subject. The teacher thought I'd won as well. All 3 judges were pro-choice. This is not unusual. This practice of liberals and progressives of judging whether a subject is good or evil, effective or ineffective, and beneficial or detrimental always swings to their side. Facebook cuts people off and shadow bans or lessens a user's audience or demonetizes them according to their own political, social, and economic standards. They hide behind their choices by using fact-checkers to knock down arguments they don't agree with. The fact-checkers rarely consider the facts. Their reasons for banning or limiting you often make no practical sense and are later retracted by Facebook when the fact you posted becomes so obviously true despite the interference. Rarely, though, are you compensated for your loss. In fact, they can't wait to get you on the next statement you made. Then they will apologize quietly to you after the election has been won or the damage is done. One positive thing about the entire process of conservatives having to face opponents in a debate from unequal ground is that they get more robust at debate and the liberal gets more incompetent, even lazy. When they meet on equal grounds, the liberal has the disadvantage. In a live talk show a couple years ago, a host was trying to argue about abortion to a hostile crowd at a university. At the edge of the audience, a tall kid kept harassing them. He kept saying nonsensical things like, yeah. That's what you are. Yep. That's not true. Go on now. Get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. After putting up with the loudmouth, the host finally said, "Okay, we'll listen to what you have to say." He walked over to the esteemed pro-abortion student and asked him a very simple question. Instead of answering, the kid, microphone close to his face, all eyes of the crowd and television crowd on him. He opened his mouth to answer. Everyone just knew this kid, college student, vocal and serious about social injustice and women's rights, would have something very profound to say. The kid cleared his throat, looked around confidently at his audience. He said finally, yeah. I knew that's what you were. It's not true. Go on now. Get out of here. Obviously, the audience was devastated. That college kid had the chance every debater or debunker could ever hope for, and on national television. He probably had already forgotten why he was there or what the subject was. He debated issues according to his own moral and ethical standard. The standard? Am I going to look big tonight to my buddies? Will I get laid? When I hear Hillary Clinton brag, she got the popular vote. I think about that too. And then my mind is hit head-on by a rush of yelling, badgering, the sound of punches battering, and the scream, "Bill, you base, you were supposed to give your 3rd term to me." Well, you can have it, dear. How? I don't know, Hillary. Just take it. You're good at that. What do you mean by that, Bill? Hillary said slowly with a drawl. I know nothing, darling. I just sit here watching you and I feel young again. I got so much on you I could get you sent to Gitmo and to the hanging rope if I wished, Bill. You're welcome to do just that, darling. Maybe I will. Question is, darling, what would you do without me? I don't know, you sneaky little snake. I guess I'm going to have to share a bed with you for the rest of my life. Now see, Hillary? That wasn't so hard to say. Well, Bill darling, I guess you know I've got a stomach for anything. Even for you. That's right, you little honey pot. Come on over to me and sit a spell on my lap. I'll tell you a tale or two like we used to, remember? Remember how we used to be, Hillary? Nice to each. Why, you were a regular Southern belle. I was the talk of the town. You still are, you slithering reptile. Yes, I guess I still am. Just keep it in your pants. Keep it in your pants. I said keep it in your pants, Bill Clinton. Disgusting. I'm going to town. As for Donald J. Trump, we are now at the beginning of a communist system. That's communism in America, a very distasteful thing. Any communist or socialist, if you want to take the roundabout way on the description, starts out either poor or rich. If you're middle class or you own a business, make a bit of money. Or if you are sitting okay on a little extra land, possession, or money. You both give that stuff away and pretend like you never had a dime. Or you save up fast as a rabbit and get filthy rich the way Hillary Clinton got her billions hid away. Like Nancy Pelosi got her payday that shows about $140 million and probably that much or more hid in a mattress somewhere. Barack Obama? Maybe he's a slouch. Sure, he was young and just starting his post-presidential life. That was no excuse for being lazy, though. He had enough time surely to create more money and power than they all. He just wasn't a self-starter. He did okay, though God took the anointing from him when he broke the vow he'd made to honor Israel. There had to be a huge, nasty streak in him. Since he was president, he had a chip on his shoulder he was blind to, but everyone else could see. It made the thin president heavy. He carried it wherever he went. He attributed the extra weight to his advancement toward old age. They called that middle age. It may also be, just possibly, he has a bundle of fortune cookies hidden all wrapped up, each one waiting to give him the good or bad news. Not that he, Barack Obama, two-term president of the United States, ever needs anyone's advice but his own. Would you consider these fine folks to be radicals? They sure look more like the Hollywood elite. They spend so much time on their expertise with them. That would be gold digging. Not the kind that requires moving to Alaska and putting in 16-hour days. No, people like them didn't have to work. They just played all day and took advantage of any type of scheme or scandal that might come around to them. It's happening. I told you sometime it'd come about. In time. It will come along in time. And today, hooray. It is coming to us on a silver platter. First, we dismantle the foolish notion. What notion would that be, my dear? The notion that we got to change things in this dreary world of ours. Most folks would differ with you now, dear. Don't call me dear. Then what you want me to call you? Call me Hillary. That's who I am, isn't it? That's right, dear. You're Hillary. Never a finer specimen anyone ever had, too. I've always had an eye for you. You have an eye for everyone, you reptile. Well, I admit you might just be right on that, dear. Didn't I say not to call me dear? I'm not calling you dear. You're standing right in front of me and looking pretty feisty. Almost the good old days. There were never any good days, Bill Clinton. Never? Never. Not one? Never any at all. Well, dear. I suppose you are right. That's one reason I married you. What reason? They didn't have Google back when I met you. What's Google to do with anything? Why, you're always right, my darling. Now if we had Google when we met, maybe I wouldn't have needed you. That's just a technicality, my precious wife. Just a technicality. After all, we live in a technology world. If the Clintons took advantage of the rule of law for their own wealth and gain, then Donald Trump, a billionaire who donated his salary to various charities and lost money after he became president rather than gain hundreds of millions from milking out the job. Donald J. Trump always, without missing one bit, followed the rule of the law. After all, if you set aside all this money-hungry politicians, big business tycoons, then this was after all the United States of America. He'd made good money. He wasn't one to just sit around and do nothing. He enjoyed earning money by the seat of his pants, rather than spend it. Indeed, it was happening. Everything was going according to the plan he had spent so many months putting together. He didn't, of course, plan it all on his own. There were many very smart, guess you would call them intelligent, who had helped. Especially in the details of the matter. Intelligent, the military's most patient and strategizing minds. Each of these men and women, some madams and sirs, had put their backs to the wheel and pushed until they couldn't stand up at night, or even sit in the. That was exactly what the deep state wasn't. It's happening. It is happening. Bill and Hillary Clinton broke the rule of the law as many times a day as they could. The law was a good thing for them. If there weren't any laws, what would they break? You had to break laws to make money. At least unless you had some amount of talent, enough to get you the amount of power and money as you wanted. Both Bill and Hillary Clinton, especially Hillary, by far the more aggressive of the two. Money. 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 Hillary wanted a lot. She wanted all of it, but that would not happen. She was practical, after all. She couldn't have all the power and money in the world, though some might think they did. That's what it was all about. And if you didn't have a rich daddy or an uncle to suck up to, you had to break the law to get money.